Since the Nationality and Borders Act came in 2022, and since the Illegal Migration Act has come in, there's even more chaos than there was before. People who are claiming asylum may well be waiting 6 months or more for a first decision. And during that time, they are being detained. Now, the important thing to remember is whether somebody's getting a positive decision or a negative decision or an uncertain decision. The number of the number of case workers dealing with these decisions has actually gone down significantly since the high point in 2014 or 2015. And in 2014 and 2015, we were dealing with a majority of the people who were applying for asylum. It's not the first time in our history, in recent years, that we've had a huge number of asylum seekers. And in 2021, for example, Ireland had slightly more. Or Ireland took slightly longer to process the initial decision. We were taking about 20 months. They were taking 23 months. I don't think they had as many applications as we have. The number of people awaiting an application, awaiting an asylum decision, in our case, in 2021, only Germany had more people awaiting decisions. But we have been unbelievably slow in processing people. And it's not the first time we've had this situation. We had it in 1999. In 1999, we got up to 125,000 people. Now we are significantly above that. But it's our backlog which is the problem. And our backlog is a result of Theresa May's obsession with the hostile society, with hostile environment. The government has been accused of flailing and of using gimmicks to hide the fact that it doesn't know what it's doing. The government, by the government I mean Suella Braverman, who is the face, the unfortunate face of the government in this case. So hotels, tents, barges. Tents comes in because the barges moored offshore have struggled to find places to dock. We've got one. And that barge has been stripped of anything positive in the same way as the reception centres in Kent under Robert Jenrick's demands have been stripped of anything positive. Robert Jenrick is, of course, quite happy to invent his own fantasies, but he doesn't want other people to have fantasy figures to warm them. In his case, his latest fantasy is that he's going to make a deal with Turkey about taking back Turkish refugees. Well, as I pointed out the other day, Turkey knows nothing about that. And Turkey might treat him very politely, but it's not going to help our relationship with Turkey in the long run to be telling porkies of that level in the last few days of the British Parliament before a 45-day holiday, in the assumption that no one's going to chase up Robert Jenrick for these extraordinary exaggerations. People who get a positive decision in immigration and refugee status are only going to be allowed to stay in the UK anyway for 5 years. That's the same sort of thing that you get in Germany. And so that uncertainty covers the whole of the process. But to have not 6 months, but 3 years or 4 years before that second period of uncertainty begins, we should have a better way of dealing with asylum applications. This is not the way forward. This constant dithering around, the only people it satisfies, the only people who are happy are the lawyers. And it is almost impossible to process through the system without legal representation. Even if, for example, you are a student. If you're a student from another country and you get into a mess with your visa, the only way out is a lawyer, which is going to cost you anywhere between £5,000 and £10,000 or £15,000. It's simply money in their pockets. And this cannot be right. So the huge backlog is the first problem, which in 2022 was 132,000 applications, awaiting an initial decision. This is madness. And Suella Braverman's plans are cruel. The only thing that she seems to be looking at is the red wall and their opinion about whether or not she's being, quote, tough enough. And yet, if we look at other countries have at least as many applicants as we have. Maybe not as big a backlog because they've actually been doing the work. Let's not forget that. But other countries, certainly across Europe, have as many migrants coming into the country as we have, if not more. And they are processing those applications. We're not. We're dithering and we're playing around with Bibi Stockholm, with tents, and with paying money to France to do our dirty work. We're supposed to be an independent nation since Brexit. We should do it ourselves. And we should do it in the spirit of our country, which is to be honest, to be honourable, and to be diligent. Instead, we are being dishonest, we are being dishonourable, and we are being unbelievably lazy. But that seems to sum up Suella Braverman and the current Home Office.